Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Leo, and welcome back to Mystic Twinflame Tarot Psychic. Someone is trying to say you switched up. Someone is out here actively accusing you of changing on them, of becoming a different person entirely. They're saying that at first you were cool, open-hearted, warm, and welcoming, this beautiful, compassionate empath who made them feel seen and understood. And now this same person has completely changed their narrative about you. Now they're calling you arrogant, cold, distant, and self-centered. This person is actually losing sleep over how you're responding to them, or more accurately, how you're not responding to them the way they want you to. They feel deeply in their core that you owe them an apology for something. They believe with absolute conviction that you need to explain yourself, that you need to justify your behavior and account for this perceived change in your character. Because in their mind you have completely and totally switched up on them without warning or reason. Let me tell you what the cards are revealing here, because there's so much energy coming through. This person is genuinely losing sleep over this situation. We're talking about someone who is lying awake at night, replaying conversations in their mind, analyzing your every word and action, trying to figure out what went wrong. They feel like you did something fundamentally wrong to them, that you were somehow unjust or unfair. They feel that you stood in emperor energy and became authoritative, cold, and commanding, as if you suddenly pulled rank on them and established boundaries they never saw coming. They feel like if you have any knowledge, any intelligence, any wisdom or book smarts whatsoever, you suddenly decided to throw it all in their face. They perceive you as someone who weaponized your intellect against them. They feel like you got on your high horse, mounted it proudly, and started treating them as if they don't know anything, as if their thoughts and opinions don't matter, as if you became too sophisticated, too evolved, too good for them all of a sudden. Maybe you came into some luck, received a blessing, experienced an upgrade in your life, and now in their perception you think you're above them. You've ascended to a level they can't reach, and they're bitter about being left behind. This person genuinely believes they're receiving the silent treatment from you. They believe your heart has grown frozen, that you've become ice cold toward them. They're accusing you of arrogance, of being too cool now, of thinking you're on another level, of believing you're better than them. They have fully convinced themselves that you feel you're above and beyond them at this point, that you've outgrown them and discarded them like yesterday's news. But here's the truth. And I need you to really hear this. I don't believe any of that narrative is accurate or true. I think you're simply being yourself, your authentic, healthy, boundaried self. What's really happening here is that you've learned to detach from toxic dynamics and live with self-respect, dignity, and healthy boundaries. And this person has taken your act of self-respect completely personally. They've interpreted your self-care as a personal attack against them. The energy here shows someone who can survive in the coldest of winters, someone who knows how to make it and thrive no matter the circumstances or challenges that arise. You're mentally and intellectually strong, standing powerfully in Sigma energy, Alpha energy, with this fierce wolf-like determination and independence. You know how to move through life strategically and make things happen for yourself. You're not dependent on anyone else's validation or support to survive and thrive. They don't understand that kind of strength because they've never cultivated it within themselves. And the reason they don't understand your strength, the reason they're so confused and angry about your transformation, is because this person is operating from deeply narcissistic energy. They feel entitled to be more centered in your life. They believe they have some inherent right to your time, energy, and attention. They're angry, genuinely furious because they believe you're doing something to them, that you're actively harming them or punishing them in some way. But let me be crystal clear. You're not doing anything to this person. You haven't harmed them. You haven't punished them. You simply decentered them from your world and centered yourself instead. You removed them from the throne they'd placed themselves on in your life, and you sat yourself down in that seat of power. That's all you did. And that simple act, that revolutionary act of self-prioritization, has sent them into a complete tailspin. You're not even thinking about them throughout your day. You're just living your life, pursuing your goals, enjoying your peace, nurturing your spirit, and your simple act of choosing yourself, of living for yourself, feels violent to them. It feels like an attack. They're literally experiencing physical symptoms, anxiety, stress, sleeplessness, agitation, because you're prioritizing your own well-being over their comfort. You're moving in your own time, operating in your own energy, following your own rhythm, and you genuinely don't care what's happening with them or what they think about your choices. They feel like you tricked them, like you ran some kind of elaborate conning. In their mind, when things started, you were the sensitive, vulnerable, generous empath who poured into them freely, and suddenly, seemingly overnight, you became this person they're now calling arrogant, self-sufficient, distant, cold, and unavailable. This person is absolutely furious about this perceived transformation. They feel deceived and betrayed because when you were more empathetic, more available, more willing to center them in their needs, they put all their eggs in your basket. They made you their primary investment. They believed wholeheartedly that you were going to be the one to come through for them, to support them, to carry them through life. They may have even told other people they were seeing on the side, "Go ahead and move on, I found the one for me." They may have cut off other options, dismissed other possibilities because they were so certain they had you locked in. Let me be direct about what the energy is showing, because we need to get to the absolute truth here. This person misread you as a doormat. They saw your empathy and mistook it for weakness. They saw your kindness and mistook it for naivety. They gave up their other situations because they genuinely thought they had found the perfect person to tolerate their disrespectful behavior, their inconsistency, their selfishness. They were excited, thinking, "I'm in business now. I found someone who will let me do whatever I want. I can lay back, relax, coast through this relationship in vacation mode because this person isn't going to expect anything from me except to show up occasionally and have fun." But here's what they didn't understand. Being with them in that dynamic put you in 5 of Cups energy. Being with them brought you deep grief and disappointment. You were mourning the real you, the strong, powerful, boundaried version of yourself that you temporarily set aside. When you were in this connection with them, you were literally sitting with yourself sometimes, looking in the mirror, asking, "What happened to me? Where did I go? Why did I abandon myself?" Here's what I'm picking up, and this is important context. Your hurt, your vulnerability, your temporary loss of self wasn't actually because of them directly. It was coming from somewhere else in your life. You may have lost a job you really valued, or maybe you experienced a significant disappointment. Something didn't go the way you'd hoped and planned. You were in a down period, a low season, when you met this person. You weren't being your true self. You weren't operating from your full power. So the version of you that they fell in love with, the version they're now complaining about losing, that wasn't even the real you. That was a diminished, wounded, temporarily weakened version of who you actually are. The person they're upset about you becoming now, that's actually the authentic you emerging from the ashes. The real you can deliver an icy goodbye without a second thought or a moment of hesitation. The real you can end a conversation that's not serving you and go straight into hermit energy. Go home, lock your doors, hibernate in your sacred space, read a book, light some candles, enjoy your own divine company, and not need to talk to anyone for days or even weeks. You're completely comfortable in solitude. You don't need constant external validation or connection to feel whole. This person crossed your path at a time when you weren't fully yourself, when you weren't operating in your complete power. Maybe it was in April, or one of you was born in April, or something significant happened in April. There's a strong connection to that time frame that's coming through in the energy. When you came into contact with them, you weren't operating in your full strength and sovereignty. You were out of sorts, off balance, not grounded in your power, but you're usually very strong. someone with significant Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius energy in your chart. You might have been coming out of a love situation that left you deeply hurt and questioning yourself. You discovered someone wasn't who you thought they were. Maybe you uncovered lies, betrayal, or deception, and it shook your foundation. You were feeling stagnant, stuck, frozen in place, unable to move forward or backward. You weren't in the best space mentally, emotionally, or spiritually when you encountered this person. Looking back now with clarity, you should have been in isolation during that time, actively rebuilding yourself, doing your inner work, healing your wounds, reconnecting with your power. Instead, you were out in the world searching for someone to stand by you, looking for external validation and support when what you really needed was to turn inward. You were tired of being the wallflower, tired of sitting on the sidelines of your own life, so you decided to put yourself out there and actively seek connection. But you weren't feeling like yourself, you were in Eight of Cups energy, feeling like you had left important things behind, or like someone significant had left you behind. You were in this vulnerable widow-like energy, carrying grief and regret, thinking about how you could have done things differently, should have done things differently. And that's when this person walked into your life. You were more susceptible to them, more open to their manipulation and their games because of where you were emotionally and spiritually. You weren't operating from your full discernment. Your boundaries weren't as strong as they usually are, and he recognized that vulnerability and thought he had found his perfect target. That's the absolute truth. He thought he had found someone he could easily take advantage of, someone who would accept whatever treatment he offered because she was just grateful to have someone, anyone, paying attention to her. And this person is still trying to linger in your energy even now, even after everything. The cards show he's trapped and tied up, completely stuck in your energy, unable to move forward, unable to let go. He's stuck mentally and emotionally, trying to figure out the exact moment when you allegedly switched up on him. He's replaying the entire relationship like a movie, trying to identify the turning point, the moment you changed. He's asking himself over and over, where is the real her? Why is she different now? What happened to the woman I met? You used to be so sweet, so accommodating, so available. Now you act like you don't even want to be around me. You act like I don't exist. Why can't we spend time together like we used to? It's the cozy season. It's winter. It's time to be snowed in together. And instead you have me out here looking like a fool. He had hinged his entire plan, his entire future strategy, on you being his support system, his emotional supply, his safety net, someone he could rely on to carry him through life without him having to put in real effort or show up authentically. He thought he could just coast on your energy, your resources, your emotional labor. It turns out you're stubborn, independent, strong-willed, and not even remotely the type of person he thought you were. You're not the doormat he assessed you to be. Those were his secret desires, his hidden agenda, thinking he was going to successfully take advantage of someone from the divine collective, someone connected to source, someone protected by spirit. But that was never going to work, not in a million years. Even if you hadn't naturally returned to being yourself, even if that transformation hadn't happened organically, your spirit team wasn't going to allow that toxic connection to continue. They were going to intervene. They were going to break it up one way or another. You were never going to end up permanently with him, whether you were consciously trying to be with him or not. Your guides, your angels, your ancestors, they were never going to let you stay in that diminished state. He thought he had found an easy route to smooth sailing through life, a free ride on your back. But that whole plan, that entire scheme fell apart completely and spectacularly. Then one day, seemingly out of nowhere from his perspective, a firestorm broke out. Something shifted dramatically. This King of Swords energy shows he thought he knew you inside and out. He thought he knew exactly what to expect from you, exactly how you'd react to everything, exactly how far he could push you. He's the type of masculine energy that would sit around bragging to his friends about how he's such an excellent judge of character, how he can read people instantly, how he knows exactly what makes people tick. But the truth is, he'd never truly dealt with someone like you before. Someone from the divine collective. Someone with real spiritual power and protection. When that firestorm happened, when that explosive shift occurred, he thought he knew what was coming. He thought he had calculated all possible outcomes. But what he didn't realize, what he couldn't have known, is that inside of you is always that light worker energy, that starseed essence, that divine spark that cannot be extinguished, no matter what. I don't care how upset you are. I don't care how disappointed you feel. I don't care if life isn't going perfectly, or if you're walking through a difficult season. At the end of the day, you're always going to show up as that starseed light worker. Because it's not a choice you make, it's who you fundamentally are. You pray too much to stay in darkness. You're too ascended, too healed, too connected to source to remain in low vibration for long. Even when you fall, even when you stumble, even when you temporarily lose your way, you rise again. That's just how you operate. That's the programming in your spiritual DNA. You've put in too much work on yourself. Deep, intensive, painful work on your internal value, on how you see yourself, on how you show up in the world, on how you feel about yourself at the core level. It was only a matter of time before everything transformed, before the truth emerged, before you remembered who you really are. The universe wasn't going to let you forget yourself permanently. You went into this situation with hope in your heart, genuinely thinking maybe you'd found someone sweet, maybe the right person for you, maybe someone who would match your energy and meet you where you are. But when you saw what you needed to see, when the veil was lifted and the truth was revealed, you walked away. You got out of the situation. You removed yourself from the equation. However you did it, whether you had a calm conversation or a heated argument, whether you disappeared quietly or made a dramatic exit, it broke this person's heart. Well, as much as a narcissist can experience heartbreak, for someone operating from narcissistic energy, their bruised ego is as close to heartbreak as they're capable of experiencing. So in his way, he is devastated. He's embarrassed, he's humiliated. He's in unease and unrest over you, over how things ended, over the fact that he lost control of the narrative. He's emotionally in a dark place right now. He feels divorced from you, thrown away like garbage, rejected completely, tossed out into the cold. He feels like he didn't survive the storm of your awakening. He feels let down, punctured in his pride, wounded in his ego. He feels like he was betrayed by the situation. 5 of Swords energy confirms this interpretation. Thank you, Spirit, for that validation. He feels like he was genuinely betrayed, let down, disappointed. In his twisted perception, he thinks maybe you were competing with him all along as a fellow narcissist, and you managed to stick him before he could stick you. You couldn't have been the sweet light worker that he met initially. That must have been an act. You must have been in some other energy that he couldn't detect with his supposedly superior perception. There must have been something he overlooked when he sat back with his King of Swords energy and tried to calculate you, assess you, figure out your weaknesses and how to exploit them. When he sat back thinking he was this grand strategist, this master manipulator who knew how to plot and scheme on you, what he didn't know is that you were already spiritually fulfilled. You already had a deep spiritual concept of yourself, an understanding of who you are at the soul level. So it was only a matter of time before you picked up on his energy, before you saw through the mask he was wearing, because you also stand powerfully in Queen of Swords energy. You're very intelligent, not just intellectually but emotionally and spiritually intelligent as well. You understand things on multiple levels simultaneously. You comprehend the seen and unseen. You read between the lines. You pick up on subtle energies that others miss. You always rise from the ashes, no matter how many times life tries to burn you down. When you speak fully in truth, unfiltered, uncompromising truth. When you cut someone off, you cut with that same truth, and it goes deep down to their soul level. Your words have power. Your perception has accuracy. Your physical eyes are sharp, observant, missing nothing. Your third eye is even sharper, seeing beyond the physical realm into the spiritual truth of situations. And you have a sharp, powerful spirit team surrounding you. Guides and ancestors and angels who are fiercely protective of you, who intervene on your behalf, who block harmful people and situations from taking root in your life. So what he didn't know, what he couldn't have anticipated, was that he had actually met his match, and not just his match, but someone operating on a completely different level than he's accustomed to. But he thought the opposite. He thought he had met someone weak, someone he could easily manipulate and control. He thought he had met the perfect person to take advantage of. Someone who would be so happy just to have his attention that she would accept whatever crumbs he offered and never demand more. But he didn't know the truth. He didn't know that you stand with a whole spirit team around you, protecting you, guiding you, showing you the truth about people and situations. A spirit team of the most righteous, most powerful spiritual beings. You're not even remotely the kind of person that he was going to be able to work his manipulation tactics on. You don't fit the description of his usual victims. You're in a completely different category. He was in the dark about that fundamental truth. He didn't know you for real. He only knew the temporary, wounded version of you that he encountered during your low season. And now that the true you has risen up from the depths, emerged from the ashes like the phoenix you are, this person feels like he's been left outside in the cold to just stand there and watch you from a distance. He's trying to stay connected to you in whatever small ways he can. Maybe he's watching your social media obsessively, checking your Facebook page multiple times a day, trying to follow your Instagram, scrolling through your posts late at night. Maybe he's trying to like your content, retweet your tweets, react to your stories, anything he thinks might catch your attention, anything that might make you reach out to him, anything that might give him an opening to start a conversation. He won't outright contact you directly, because that would require him to be vulnerable and admit that he wants your attention. A narcissist can't do that. They can't come to someone directly and say, "I miss you. I want to talk to you. I value your presence in my life." That's too honest, too real, too vulnerable. Instead, he's trying these indirect methods, these subtle tactics, hoping you'll notice and respond. "I'm not going to outright call you, but if I retweet your tweet, maybe you'll respond to me. I'm not going to directly message you, but if you see me watching your TikTok live, maybe you'll acknowledge me. I'm not going to say anything direct, but if I like the same comment you liked, maybe you'll notice me, and we can start talking again." He's in that type of manipulative, indirect energy. Because remember, a narcissist always needs to be receiving adoration, attention, and validation. It's like oxygen to them. They can't survive without it. But they also need to maintain the illusion that they don't need anyone, that they're completely self-sufficient. So they'll never simply say directly, "I adore you. I miss your company. I'd like to spend time with you." That's too genuine, too straightforward, too human. Instead, they'll always try to exploit the humanity, the kindness, the empathy of others. They'll use indirect tactics, manipulation, guilt, breadcrumbing, anything except honest, direct communication. So what this person is truly upset about, at the deepest level, is that your divine authenticity, your return to your true self, ended his entire plan. Let's be completely clear about what was really happening. He wanted to destiny swap with you. He wanted to steal your light and wear it as his own. He wanted all of your goodness, your righteousness, your blessings, your spiritual connection, your divine favor, your patience, your inner peace, your beauty, your strength, all of it. He wanted to drain those qualities from you and use them for himself. He wanted you to be a resource in his life, a tool he could use whenever he needed something. He wanted access to your energy, your emotional labor, your support, your encouragement, your belief in him, all while giving you the bare minimum in return. He wanted an unfair exchange where he got everything and you got almost nothing. And then he made a critical mistake. He underestimated you. He effed around and found out, as they say. He pushed too far, took too much, showed his true colors too clearly, and you saw the truth. The firestorm that broke out, the explosion that changed everything, was you falling back from the situation. You spoke your truth clearly and directly, and then you stepped away. You removed yourself from his games. You might have done it calmly, smoothly, gracefully, in a high-value way that left him with nothing to criticize or attack. Three of Pentacles energy shows you stated your position clearly and firmly. You let him know exactly how you felt, what you would and wouldn't accept, where your boundaries were. You may have had the support of your friends during this time, your real friends, your true soul family, the people who love you and want the best for you. They were probably telling you, girl, no, don't accept that treatment. Go ahead and let him know what's what. Tell him the truth and walk away. And you did exactly that. And then you returned to your space of righteousness, your space of alignment with your higher self. You returned to your true identity as a light worker, as someone to be respected, as a divine counselor and teacher. You descended into that wounded state temporarily, and then you rose again just as you were always meant to do. That's what the dark feminine always does. That's what any divine energy will do. You can be crucified, humiliated, tested, attacked, and you will still rise. People can throw all the darts they want. They can hate, they can spread lies, they can try to tear you down. It doesn't matter. You're going to rise again, stronger than before. This is why he's really upset. At the core of his anger and confusion, he's not upset because you changed. He's upset because you still rise. He thought he had you figured out, had you categorized, had you controlled. He thought he was going to successfully complete this destiny swap with you. He thought you were about to become all about him, revolving your entire life around meeting his needs. But instead, you elegantly, politely, or perhaps coldly and firmly, let him know the truth about where things stood. You fell back, created space, established boundaries, and then you just kept rising and rising and rising. Queen of Wands energy shows you standing powerfully in your truth, shining bright like the sun, radiating fire energy. You didn't stumble, you didn't fall apart, you just kept rising, kept glowing, kept moving forward. You don't look like you were ever affected by him or the situation. It doesn't appear to anyone watching your life that you ever knew him or dated him or gave him a second thought. See, he wants to be checking your pages, your social media, looking for signs of trouble, signs that you're struggling. He wants to see posts like, "I just can't seem to find the right man," or "Why is love so hard?" So he can feel validated, so he can think to himself, "Aha, she's suffering without me. She's sick over me. Every time she thinks she's got her life on track, she falls apart because she's missing me." He wants evidence that you're broken without him, but he's not finding any of that. She's searching for your pain and finding none. Instead, all he sees on your page is you rising, continuously rising, rising and shining brighter and brighter, because you have divine protection surrounding you. You're not going to get bogged down and broken like someone operating from karmic energy would. That doesn't happen to you. That's not your path. That doesn't happen to the divine collective. And still you rise over and over again. Look at this confirmation. 9 of Pentacles energy. All he's seeing when he stalks your social media is vitality, abundance, wealth, passion, joy, success. You're steadily leveling up in every area of your life. You're getting more beautiful, more radiant, more powerful, more successful. Your skin is glowing. Your energy is magnetic. Your life is expanding. That's all he sees. That's all he's able to witness from his position outside your life. That's all he's going to see going forward as well. 2 of Swords confirms that his days of crossing your path directly, of having access to you, of being in your inner circle. Those days are completely over, finished, done. There's no going back. He's literally just going to have to sit out there in the streets, in the shadows, in the alleyways of your past, and watch you level up from a distance. Watch you thrive, watch you succeed, watch you glow, watch you rise. That's it. That's all that's left for him. There's nothing else remaining for him to do in your life. No role for him to play. No access for him to claim. He has to eat that reality. He has to digest that truth. He has to accept that he lost you, that he never really had you in the first place, and that you're moving on to better things while he stays stuck in the past, replaying what could have been if only he had shown up differently. If this message resonates deeply with you, if you feel this energy confirming what you already knew in your spirit, don't forget to like and subscribe to Mystic Twinflame Tarot Psychic. Share this reading with someone in your life who needs this confirmation today. Someone who's walking through a similar situation and needs to hear that they're not crazy, that they're not wrong for establishing boundaries and choosing themselves. Hit the bell so you never miss a message meant specifically for your soul, because these readings come through at exactly the right time for exactly the right people. You are rising, beautiful soul. You are ascending. You are glowing. You are thriving. And absolutely nothing and no one can stop that divine momentum. Your spirit team is with you. Your ancestors are cheering you on. The universe is conspiring in your favor. Keep rising. Keep shining. Keep being exactly who you are.